afternoon, everybody. I'm Sarah Coleman from TWC Group. For those of you unfamiliar with us, we are the wholesale sector's leading data and insight specialists, and it's our pleasure to be with you this afternoon to share our thoughts on predictions for Christmas and beyond. It's almost impossible to predict what is going to happen from one month to the next at the moment, such is the pace and extent of change. So we're going to share a roundup of a number of data sources put into a wholesale context in a bid to fulfill this challenging brief. The context is a highly volatile, rapidly shifting market due to global factors such as the war in Ukraine, the US economy, and changes to COVID policies in China, as well as things closer to home, the ongoing impact of Brexit and our own economy. And we are still 2 days away from the mini budget by the Chancellor of the Exchequer. He is expected to introduce a raft of measures to fill the £50 billion black hole via tax rises and budget cuts, which will almost certainly affect us all. Looking at the long-range economic forecast, expectations are that 2023 will be tough, but there is hope that things may improve in 2024. We see how this recession is different to previous ones, in particular the fact that jobs are not scarce, employment is available. And a big piece of the puzzle is the supply challenges, which have also driven prices up. So the hope is that if availability increases, price should be driven down. One of the things we can look at is current consumer trends and emotional sentiment, which has built up through 2022 to try to predict what will happen in the coming months. We can also look at what has actually happened during previous Christmases for clues as to what will happen this Christmas. There are a number of consumer surveys which have polled the nation about Christmas 2022, and the general consensus is that spend will be less than in previous years. And many people will, of course, still go out to pubs, bars, restaurants and hotels, but probably less this year, and those who do so will do it less frequently than they might have done in previous years, with the exception of Christmas 2020, when restrictions prevented us from doing very much at all. Research from Kokoro Group reports that there is a large increase in the percentage of people saying they will spend less this year than in the run-up to Christmas 2021. And other research sources suggest that total retail spend at Christmas this year will fall by about 3% or £2.5 billion, but the sales of alcohol and treats might not be that badly affected. The Kokoro research found that whilst consumers are wary of spending too much, they also can't help treating themselves over Christmas time. But the research showed that consumers started thinking about Christmas far earlier in 2022 than in the previous 2 years, probably to manage their spending over a longer period, which tallies with using tactics such as interest-free credit and Klarna. So amongst all the predicted gloom, where can we find some good news? Let's start with convenience retail. There are now over 48,500 convenience stores in the UK, an increase of 2,000 in the last year. Turnover has also increased by £2 billion to over £45 billion. 71% of convenience stores are still independent or symbol, equating to around 34,000 stores. There is something in the region of 5 billion shopper visits to convenience stores each year. And despite intense competition over the years from supermarkets, both superstores as well as their own convenience estates, from discounters and online retailers, convenience has managed to hold its 20% share of the grocery market, demonstrating how remarkably resilient the sector is. However, their costs are rising as are wholesalers, and there is a whole debate going on right now about the amount of margin made available to the independent channel. We're delighted to be able to share sales data from 8,000 independent convenience stores relating to autumn and Christmas 2021 via a new service which we'll be bringing to market very soon. The 2021 Christmas EPOS data shows that average basket spend tends to rise from about now, mid-November, and jumps by a further 25% in Christmas week. Footfall actually drops in Christmas week, and that's because many stores are closed on Christmas Day, so retailers lose a day's trading. A key driver of increased average spend was the rise in volume of higher priced brands, particularly in alcohol, chocolate confectionery, crisps and cheese. Within alcohol, this was seen in brandy, gin, vodka, rum, whiskey, liqueurs, fortified wine and sparkling wine. We can also see that certain subcategories and brands perform particularly well at Christmas. For instance, over a quarter of sales of Baileys and Tia Maria in 2021 took place in December. Chocolate assortments saw premiumisation as Lindt and Elizabeth Shaw doubled their share of units sold during the Christmas week compared to normal trading weeks in October. Other categories with significant product uplifts in Christmas week include kitchen foil, sparkling wine, biscuit assortments and stuffing mix. Interestingly, data for 2022 is already showing increased sales of own label products in the run-up to Christmas, reflecting what is happening in supermarkets, where over half of sales are now in own label products, and this is being replicated in convenience stores. If we now move on to out of home and the food service side of things, PwC works in partnership with MealTrack. They've been tracking the nation's usage of food to go and out of home eating since 2014, and so they have 8 years of back data at their fingertips. Looking at the latest data to the 3rd of October, we can see the number of out of home and food to go occasions is just about still in growth in the UK, looking at the last 12 weeks, year on year, that plus 1% figure. In a 12-week period, there are around 825 million of these occasions. The total number of occasions has held pretty static for about 6 rolling periods now. However, these total market figures hide a lot of significant swings between sub-channels, which we need to be aware of. There's been a huge increase recently in the number of food-to-go occasions bought at supermarkets and forecourts at the expense of occasions at sandwich shops, coffee shops, and fast food outlets. And this shift is due to the supermarket's value proposition, particularly at the moment with many supermarket chains offering excellent meal deals, offers upped by additional discounts if the shopper uses their loyalty card. And so, as we alluded to just now, you'll notice that the retail channels are significantly outperforming food service channels on this slide. In terms of out-of-home eating occasions, in the last 12 weeks, we can see that restaurants are down versus 2021, as are hotels, but pubs are seeing significant year-on-year growth in occasions. We remain hopeful that consumers are tightening their belts in this shoulder period before then ramping up again before Christmas. Heineken and Star Pubs have recently released some research suggesting that as many as 2 million people will eat their Christmas Day lunch in a pub. But what is probably concerning is the fact that younger consumers, according to MealTrack, are the ones who are cutting back on food to go and out of home eating, and yet they make up a very big part of the grazing community. So to summarise, we believe there is an opportunity for retail and out of home. People will still want to do Christmas this year. But there must be a focus on value-added treats as well as plain and simple good value offers. There needs to be a focus on promotions and encouraging customers to pass them on to their consumers. Christmas ranges need to be kicked off early because consumers are already thinking about Christmas and planning actively. The retail volume drivers are still licensed confectionery and Christmas snacks. And for out of home, think about low and no options, and also the pub sector, which is still in growth. So there's some opportunities here, as well as focusing on driving value for meal and snack solutions. In retail and out of home, consider propositions for younger consumers who we know are the most cash strapped. Thank you so much for listening. Do get in touch if you'd like to know more about what we've covered today.